This is our last lesson in 712. We will not be doing the last lesson about insects, so this will wrap it up for us. It's all about decimal number stories. So let's start off with your whiteboard marker, and we'll move into our journal in just a few minutes. So let's go ahead and start thinking back to decimals. We've been working a lot with fractions. Now let's change some fractions into decimals. So please, number 1, 2, and 3 on your whiteboard. Change each of these fractions into an equivalent decimal. Starts off easy and then just becomes a little bit more challenging. So go ahead and write your answers on your whiteboard. So 36 hundredths looks like that. 87 hundredths looks like that. And 19 hundredths looks like that. All right, go ahead and wipe off your whiteboard, number 1 to 3. Be careful. We don't have tenths or hundredths in there, so change it to tenths or hundredths before you change it to a decimal. Go ahead and pause your video and write the equivalent decimal. Number 1, 3/10. I can do that without changing the denominator. 1/2, I'm going to change to tenths. So I multiply by 5 on the bottom, I multiply by 5 on the top. 5/10 looks like that. 4/5, I'm going to change to tenths. Multiply the denominator times 2 and the numerator times 2. 8/10. All right, one more before we move into our math journal. This one, maybe not quite as quick to see, but change each one to a hundredths. And change this improper fraction to a mixed number. Go ahead and pause the video and complete numbers 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, I multiply the bottom by 5, so I multiply the top by 5. 35 hundredths. If I multiply 25 times 4, I get 100, so I multiply the top by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 hundredths. We're going to change the improper fraction in number 3 and say how many 2's are there in 14? 7. How do we write 7 as a decimal? We can leave it just as 7 or 7 and 0/10. Oh, one more thing before we get into our math journal. What fraction, let's number these, number 1, 2, and 3 again. What fraction of $1 is a dime? So remember, a dime is 10 cents. What fraction of $1 is 1 penny? What fraction of $1 is 7 dimes and 8 pennies? Write your last one as a fraction and as a decimal. So fraction, decimal, and a fraction. Pause your video and complete. Make sure you're doing this. You want to be ready when you move into 5th grade that you've practiced this. So pause your video and answer the questions. Number 1, what fraction of $1 is a dime? It's 10 out of 100 cents. What fraction of $1 is 1 penny? It is 1/100th. What fraction of $1 is 7 dimes, which is 70 cents? 8 pennies, which is 8 cents. It would be together 87 hundredths. And as a decimal, it looks like this, 78 hundredths. All right, let's go ahead and move into our math journal. And we are moving to page 261. Page 261. So 5 toothbrushes. A toothbrush is $1.38, but if you look at the bottom here, it says 5 or more, you only pay $1.13, and he's buying 5 or more. So let's write $1.13, and rather than adding $1.13, $1.13, $1.13, $1.13, $1.13, I'm going to multiply by 5. Now, we're going to multiply as if the decimal is not there, and then we'll talk about how to place that decimal point. So let's go ahead and multiply. 5 times 3 is 15, carry your 1. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6, nothing to carry. 5 times 1 is 5. Now, each toothbrush is about $1 times 5 of them. We know our answer should be about $5. So if we do that, we know our decimal point would have to go between the 5 and the 6 to be $5.65. Another way you can do it is count the number of the number of numerals behind the decimal point, and that's how many you have to have in your answer. So in our problem, we have 2 numbers behind the decimal point, and in our answer, we have 2 numbers behind the decimal point. And then 1 tube of toothpaste. Since he's only buying 1, we're going to add $1.39. So let's add $1.39 right below here, so we don't even have to rewrite it. Make sure your decimal point is lined up straight, and then you can go ahead and bring that straight down. And let's add 5 plus 9 is 14. My brain was already jumping ahead to the 4. Carry your 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. Put down your 0, carry your 1. 5 plus 1 is 7. $7.04. Number 2, Mr. De La Garza pays for 8 boxes of tissues with a $5 bill. How much change does he get? Well, in the grocery prices of today, I will promise you, you would not get a box of tissues, 8 of them, for $5. You might be able to buy 1, maybe 2 of them if they're on sale, but we'll just pretend like that's really the price, but it's not. 73 cents if we buy 5 or more, and he's buying 8. So let's go ahead and take 57 cents times 8 of them. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply, ignoring the decimal for right now. So 8 times 7 is 56, carry your 5. 8 times 5 is 40. And 40 plus 5 is 45. Now, I gave you that little shortcut. Here's the decimal point. How many numbers are behind the decimal point? Two of them. So we need 2 of them, 2 numbers behind. And if we think of 8 times 50 cents, what's 8 times 5 is 40, with 1 0 behind it, $4. So that would be close, but that's not what it's asking. It's asking how much change does he get. So he hands the cashier $5. Write this in your math journal. It costs $4.50, so we're going to subtract that. Be careful because I cannot take 0 minus 6, so I borrow from the $5. I'm going to turn that into 10 dimes. I'm going to take one of those dimes and turn it into 10 pennies. Now I can bring my decimal point straight down. 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 4 minus 4 is 0. He should get back 44 cents. All right, let's move on to page 262. Page 262. How much more do 5 pairs of shoelaces cost than 3 pairs of shoelaces? Okay, remember, if we buy 5 of them, we'll get the better deal. So let's start with 5 pairs, which would be $1.08. And we're going to multiply that by 5 of them. Then we're going to compare if we bought 3 of them, and if we only buy 3, we're going to pay $1.27 times 3. So those are the 2 problems we're going to start by figuring out. Let's ignore the decimal point for now. We'll come back and place it. 5 times 8 is 40. Put down your 0, carry your 4. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. And 5 times 1 is 5. Now, if I estimate 5 times about $1 is $5. So I would put my decimal point here. I also can say there are 2 numbers behind the decimal point. I need 2 numbers behind my decimal point in the answer. And $1.27 times 3. Let's ignore the decimal point for right now and go ahead and multiply. 3 times 7 is 21. Put down your 1, carry your 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. And 3 times 1 is 3. Now, they're about $1, a little more than $1, if I buy 3 pairs of them per set of shoelaces. So 3 times 1 would be 3. So if I put my decimal point between the 3 and the 8, my answer is about 3. Here's the shortcut. There's 2 numbers behind the decimal point in our problem, 2 numbers behind the decimal point in our answer. Still not answering the question. It's asking what's the difference between those 2 numbers. So I'm going to take the larger amount and subtract the smaller amount. Remember to bring your decimal point straight down. Go ahead and solve. Did you get $1.59? All right, one more problem. How much more does it cost to buy 5 rolls of wrapping paper than 2 rolls? So let's go over to the wrapping paper. If you buy less than 5, it's $2.35 a roll. If you buy 5 or more, $1.86. So let's start with $1.86 times 5 of them. And we're comparing that with the cost of 2 rolls. So if I buy only 2, I pay $2.35 per roll times 2. Go ahead and multiply. We'll place our decimal in just a moment. Six times 5 is 30. Put down your 0, carry your 3. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 3 is 43. Carry your 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. Now, 5 times $1.86 is pretty close to $2. So 5 times 2 is 10. Where would I put my decimal so that my answer is close to $10? Between the 9 and the 3. 2 numbers after the decimal point. 2 numbers behind the decimal point in the answer. And let's figure out what $2.35 is times 2 rolls. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry your 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. And 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2, if I estimate, is about $4. So I put my decimal point there. And again, there's 2 numbers behind the decimal point. 2 numbers behind the decimal point, my answer. But we want to know the difference. How much more is buying 5 rolls versus 2 rolls? So $9.30 minus $4.70. Bring your decimal point straight down. 0 minus 0 is 0. I cannot subtract 7 from 3, so borrow from the $9, make it 8. Take $1, make it into 10 dimes. So now we have 13 dimes minus 7 dimes is 6 dimes. And 8 minus 4 is 4. So the price difference is $4.60.